So, hi guys. So, I'm very excited to having this panel today. Um, basically, we were working on an industry report together with Good Company that you will meet in a couple of minutes, and also AB InBev. And we had this super interesting conversation together with them to understand how do they see the challenges and the different trends in the industry as that are working in the innovation teams of AB InBev, and also as a VC firm. So I'm so honored to welcome Ido Fischler and Gal Ramot to the stage. We shuffled the order. Good.
Hi,
So,
thanks.
my
Thanks
friends,
for having us.
good to see you on stage.
Good to see you too.
So first, thank you for joining. And can you please introduce yourselves?
I'll go first. So my name is Gal Ramot. I work for the Open Innovation Hub of AB InBev. And to introduce AB InBev, Lucy just did it, but just so that everybody is also aware, we're the largest brewing company in the world. Over 500 brands, over 160,000 employees, spanned across 50 countries. And in Israel, we have, as I said, the Open Innovation Hub, where we seek for transformational innovation to proliferate into the company.
Hi, my name is Ido Fischler, and I'm the managing partner at Good Company VC. We're an early stage VC investing in mission-driven ventures. We focus on software-centric companies, and we would like to back the operating system of the new sustainable economy. By mission-driven, we mean startups who are solving the world's biggest challenges, and these are usually related to the climate crisis or the social crisis. So we have investments in the field of agriculture, digital healthcare, future of work and education, and of course logistics, supply chain, and what we call circular economy is a major topic for us, as well as energy, of course. Yeah, we did. We are very active investors. We did about eight. We have 8 portfolio companies now from the first fund, and we're going to do another probably 10 investments within this year or the next 12 months. I'm happy to be invited here and working with you guys. That's part of our model, which I'm going to discuss a bit in length later.
So I'll quickly introduce myself because we have beautiful slides, but okay, I'll do it like that. So I'm from SAP.io, the venture arm of SAP. We're working with innovative startups around their A round to kind of benefit our clients with new solutions on top of SAP's products. So we have this activity in Israel and in other additional 9 additional locations, from San Francisco to Tokyo. So that's it. And now I'm gonna ask you, what is on top of your company's mind currently?
So for us, specifically, and relating also to this event, we put our big bets here on sustainability, alongside other things. But I think specifically, how do we make our logistics operations greener? How do we ensure that we reach our aggressive goal of 2025, which we'll speak about after? We are looking for companies that are mature enough that could expand and scale into our company. Companies that now have the right infrastructure to support us in different kinds of challenges that we have and we can speak about. We also are looking for those moonshots ideas, right? We always have our ongoing and day-to-day challenges, but many times we also have we see in the market different innovative ideas that we would like to also adopt into AB InBev. Do you want to?
Yeah, what's on our mind? Well, we actually, part of our model is actually to be sitting next to you guys and working in collaboration with, we work with between 15 to 20 multinational corporates in order to understand like where are you guys taking your business and what are the challenges that you are identifying, where are the gaps, what are you going to build internally, where are you going to seek partnerships and collaborations. And according to that, we adjust our investment thesis and we can direct our portfolio companies better and obviously expose them to the market and make the right connections in the right context, in the right time. I'm going to speak later about a few of our portfolio companies in the space of supply chains. But on our mind currently is really like we focus on different sectors, but really like what we say is like how to reverse engineer VC, how to reverse engineer the way we think in order to be very much educated on the market needs and only then find the best solutions, and then we can basically make confident bets on maybe underserved or overlooked sectors, usually.
So when we created the report, we came up with a couple of trends that we would love to double down now, but it's so great in general. It was great to hear how sustainability becomes such a huge topic as a company and such a huge goal, and not just for the PR and the marketing aspect of it, but a real company goal. So it was amazing to see and hear. So for the different trends, Ido, so there were from linear to circular. So can you tell us about those who are changing our everyday consumption, Tulu?
Yes, my pleasure. First, like I want to, just before speaking about Tulu, like I want to tell you about like a year ago, we did this mission together with the AB InBev and SAP and other partners around supply chains. We identified the problems and then we went out together to find innovative startups in Israel and abroad, in Europe and North America mainly, but not just, in order to find the best solutions. And together we met many startups and we tried to understand together, us from the investment perspective and them from the business perspective, what are the best startups that we should collaborate on, and we're going to talk about that. And also that work also yielded this report that we did a few months later, but that's the thing. So one of the trends that we are covering in this report here is really the fact that it's called from linear to circular and how everything fits within a circular system. As you all know, the world population is still growing and saving resources and serving more and more people with limited and decreasing amount of resources is the major challenge. And Tulu, it's a company on our portfolio that recently announced a $20 million A round. And we are super proud. We were the first backers of that company, and we continue to be very much involved. What Tulu does is working with CPGs like Bosch, Dyson, and others to provide residential buildings a sharing platform for amenities. So what Tulu realizes that people don't need to own things in order to use them. You don't really need a driller, you just need to drill a hole in the wall. You don't really need a vacuum cleaner, you need to clean your carpet, right? So Tulu developed this modular IoT enabled unit that has all these amenities from mobility to cleaning to driller, vacuum cleaner, and even leisure like Xbox, for example. And it allows the tenants of the building to rent a vacuum cleaner for $2 an hour and use them and return them and then share. And the amazing thing about it that Bosch just entered this A round with an investment because they see the future of their business in Tulu, in this platform that is changing the way they distribute their equipment from their business model. Now Bosch, instead of selling a driller, they sell usage in a driller, and they actually can make more money according to our unit economics. And thirdly, and maybe most importantly, they get unprecedented access to the users and the usage data and how happy users are with the equipment after they return it. And that's pretty much priceless for this type of companies. And I think it also kind of it's a big equipment that will be much more resilient, long-lasting, and heavy duty for private usage.
Exactly. Fun fact, I was in the first building that Tulu implemented their, in Tel Aviv, and now it's all over
Now
Germany.
they operate in 15 different cities, in 100 different locations, and their goal is to grow 10 times in the next year.
Amazing. So Gal, I remember on the call you were speaking about upcycling. So which technologies and solutions are you looking in this area?
So we understand as a company that there are many underutilized resources across our supply chain, the company. It could be various things. It could be the trucks that are coming back empty after delivering the beers. It could be our wastes. It could be our organic waste. It could be our inorganic waste, meaning our cans, our aluminum, and cardboard, but also our, we call it brewery spent grain. So we have been, as a company, from top down, we have been focusing on trying to take this, as I said, underutilized resource. So let's focus on the waste, for instance. We are producing 7 million tons of brewery spent grain a year. And this later could be sold into to animal feed. We are looking on how to take our waste and make. We can look at it in different ways. One is to turn our waste into packaging materials. So we have ongoing projects with companies. A company called Mitero, the company called Solutum that does biodegradable packaging, where we take our waste and we turn it into packaging materials. The other way that we're looking at it is to try and produce pure protein or fibers from our waste. We do it with a company called Evergreen, and produce raw protein out of our brewery spent grain. Also, another thing that now is growing is the usage of the black soldier fly. That's a specific fly that feeds out of our waste, and we're able to produce 20 times more in protein levels and then later sell it to pet food, for instance. So many interesting things, and we're also here in this conference to look for logistic-related companies that could help us do it even further in different parts of the business that relate to our logistics infrastructure and distribution.
Amazing, thanks. Interesting. So Ido, so reverse logistics. So which companies, interesting companies, do you see or even invest in?
Yeah, so as Gal mentioned in AB InBev, they always think about like how to avoid waste and how to reuse what seems waste to someone is actually a raw material for another one. but it also goes in the e-commerce space, and actually in the e-commerce space, it's a huge problem. In the fashion industry, for example, 30% of the goods are being returned. So all of us know it when you buy shoes or a t-shirt, it's not your size or not the right color that you wanted, you can simply return it, and all of the merchants today support free refund, no question asked. That's part of the user customer experience. However, it's a big pain. 18% of the GMV in e-commerce is actually is the cost of the reverse logistics, from the actual shipping to the processing, handling, and actually 40%, and that's even sadder, that 40% of the waste of the goods that being returned are actually never being sold and being dumped and create pollution. And there are many companies who are trying to solve that. We invested in a company called ReturnGo, who recently also closed a big round. It hasn't been announced yet, but you will hear about it soon. ReturnGo is a digital platform that help merchants to deal with returns and help customers to match each customer according to their shopping habits and needs that they use data to in order to understand, to offer them the best solution. And if it's like maybe you can keep the item and get credits in the store for future buying, or you want to donate the item and get me even like 120% of the item's price in credits in the store. It's actually win-win for everyone, because the merchant eventually increases the lifetime value of the customer. He reduces the cost associated with the return. And of course, what merchants hate is to do refunds, is to actually pay money back and not being able, 40% of the time, not being able to sell the product again. And on top of that, regulation today in Europe and I believe in North America soon, forces brands and retailers to deal with reverse logistics in a non-wasteful way. And that's like another force that drives the success of ReturnGo. Today they serve over 500 merchants on top of Shopify, Square, and other platforms. And that's it. That's a great example.
So Gal, AB InBev is pretty much walking the walk and going towards more local production. If you can tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's a mobility conference. So, let's take analogy of the car, right? You only know that there's when there's a problem with your car, usually you don't think about your car and your mobility until it breaks down, right? And then you have to find alternatives. And we've seen that in the last 2 years, right? A huge disruption of the supply chains. And we've seen a lot of companies looking at just-in-time manufacturing and understand they can take plus minus 10% of a buffer, and that would do, right? And rely on manufacturing in China, for instance. That completely shifted. And for us, what we are trying to do, and also based on our nature of our company, growing from M&A a lot, but also very much locally based and supporting our communities around our breweries, we make an effort to have all of our ingredients and all of our ecosystem locally in terms of brewing, for instance. So one example I can give that also connects with how we support our local communities is the way that we produce new brands of beers based on local ingredients. For instance, Northeast Brazil, a state called Ceará, we have an abundance of cassava plant. So we have provided work for the whole community in Ceará and produced a local brand that has injected over $2 million to the specific community in terms of pay salaries, and the raw materials that we actually buy from them. Um, so this is one example, and the challenges that we have is that we have over 500 brands, but we want to make sure that it's consistent. The quality is consistent. So how do we cross brew, right? We want Stella to be just the same in Leuven, Belgium, and also in Sao Paulo and in Brazil. We need to make sure that we also find quantitative ways to see that our brand is consistent, which is our power. So we are also looking into innovation around that. Maybe last example here is what we've been experiencing with spare parts. So as you can imagine, big plants, many different kinds of machines, and when things break down nowadays with the problems around supply chains, the lead times are extremely long. So we are looking for ways to produce internally, so like using 3D printing, for instance, to see that we can get the right parts to the right breweries in hours and not weeks, even months sometimes, and also not paying on the surcharge that involves in logistics, and of course the emissions that come with it.
Great. So, dear panel members, my next question will be if you see within the supply chain sector any fields, topics that we're not paying enough attention to that we should.
So we like to call it, like, our operations goes from seed to sip. So it starts from the farmer that produces, grows the barley. We own some of the operations, some we outsource. Then we look into the raw materials, like how do we procure the right materials and make sure that we also have the cans and the aluminum and all of the things that we need in order to produce the beers. From there, everything regarding inline, in brewery operations, warehousing, logistics, and the distribution centers. I think now, in the last year or two, we're seeing a shift and some dynamics around the consumer interest. We're seeing consumers caring a lot about the fact that the product they're purchasing is green. They also want it cold and they want it now. So that has a lot of implications on how we run our business. If you need to bring, in the press of a button, you need within 30 minutes to get a cold beer to your next door neighborhood. That means that our whole last mile operations needs to be rethought about. So we are working on this now. This would be our focus also moving forward. Looking for ways to have last mile automations, looking for different robotics, for instance, solutions, but also software, fleet management, ideas and solutions that could come into play within our distribution centers.
Yeah, to tap into that, actually, that's part of the report. We wrote here that 54% of customers will only do business with companies practicing environmental sustainability, and that's according to a Gartner survey from 2021. And actually, I don't know if you know that, but 3% of the goods in the world are being shipped through seaborne vessels, and that's 300 million tons of CO2 every year. And we are now finalizing a new investment in a company that actually transforms shipping containers to leverage the power of the waves in order to be hybrid and use electricity. Not fully, but hybrid. in a hybrid form and save around 10% of the fuel. And that's 10% of the fuel within these vessels is more than all of the emissions caused by cars in the world together. So this company really has the power to change the world. And by the way, in 2021, the emissions were only increased. So we are not anywhere in the trajectory of decreasing emissions yet. And that's why we are very excited about this venture. And we can, discuss later.
Yeah, love to hear more.
Yep.
So we're coming towards concluding the session. So if you can share with the audience, what are the plans for the rest of 22 and beyond?
Yeah, so since we were talking about sustainability, let's continue that route. So we have very aggressive goals. We aspire to be net zero till 2040, and we have very aggressive goals until 2025. We need to have 100% of all our electricity coming from renewable sources. We're talking about 35% decrease in emissions. We are striving to have a 1-to-1 ratio between our water, raw material, or like our raw water to beer produced. So anything that could help us in those realms could be just a company that we would be keen to work with. One example that comes to mind now these days, actually this week, we're supposed to install the Apollo Power solar panels that are flexible and can actually go on top of our trucks, saving us on electricity. Not only our trucks, we are also in parallel trying to pilot this on our warehouses, where the roof is not thick enough to actually contain the solar panels, the traditional ones. So anything in those realms is most welcome.
Yes, and we want to continue to support mission-driven ventures. Towards the end of this year, we are planning to run some sort of an activity, bringing together, that's what we call the Good Company movement, to bring together multinational corporates with its agenda, like AB InBev and others, to the same place as startups who are solving exactly problems along the supply chain, within the different business sectors. And we want to create a home for these startups to come, interact with the market, get feedback from investors, from researchers in academia, etc. And we're going to probably announce that later this year. And we are looking for more partners to join us, and obviously startups that would like to participate will be very welcome.
Thanks, guys. So quickly, if you can share what is the best way to approach you and engage with you.
So we're based here in Israel. We welcome every startup to actively reach out. The innovation team is the one that receives and absorbs those new ideas, and it's our job to actually proliferate that into the company. We also run challenges. We ran challenges with the Good Company. We recently wrapped up a challenge with Planet Tech, and now we're running another one, global one, around circular economies. So we have an online presence as well. So happy to engage with disruptive startups.
Yeah, for me it's normal ways, through the website, through the email. My email is ido@goodcompanyhq.com. Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. Just any medium is good to find us, and our job is to meet startups. So that's what we do.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. And we wanted to share a QR code for a report. So whoever is interested, we can share it with you. We have also copies here. Thank you very much.
And it's
course.
available
Thank you for
online in our
listening.
website as well.
Exactly.
Thank you.